Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to TMRP, the Metropolis Radio Podcast. Now, I know it's been a while since I've uploaded one of these, but I was waiting to see if there was anything to really talk about, and I came across an article a couple of days ago from the LA Times that is basically laying out that people are dropping services like Netflix, Disney Plus, Hulu, HBO Max, etc., just left and right. And I thought that I could use this as a jumping off point for a larger discussion, along with an argument that I've been making for the last couple of years before I started doing content creation on the internet, of course. And in case if you guys haven't done this already, subscribe to the channel, and all the links to the social media pages and other video hosting services that I'm on are down below in the description. And with that out of the way, let's just get right into this episode of TMRP. So I'm going to start this episode by reading off this LA Times article that I came across a couple of days ago. If you follow me on BitChute or Odyssey, I will leave a link to this article in the description. On the YouTube side of things, I'm going to basically not link to it just because, you know, they're awful finicky about, you know, if you link to the wrong thing, you can get flagged for it. And I just don't want to deal with it. So basically, the article from the LA Times is, how fast do you cancel streaming services? It's a problem for Hollywood. It was written by Ryan Faulkner, I think is how you pronounce his name. I'm sorry if I mispronounced it, man. But this was written back on January 18th of 2021. And the article goes, say you sign up for HBO Max to watch The Flight Attendant. The 8-episode season concludes, and you browse your next binge viewing fix. Maybe you turn on Wonder Woman 1984 or rewatch The Sopranos. How long before you go to your Apple device's subscriptions tab and drop the $15 a month app? A month? A week? A day? That's the issue facing media and entertainment companies as the battle for streaming audiences settles into a new phase. During 2019 and 2020, studios launched Disney Plus, HBO Max, Peacock. I forgot about Peacock, which has both paid and free tiers. That is for Peacock only. HBO Max and Disney Plus don't have that. Apple TV Plus, Discovery Plus, which, oh my god, that's gonna go down like the fucking Hindenburg, and others, all betting on original exclusive programming to draw users. The coronavirus crisis has been a boon for the streaming industry as movie theaters, concert venues, and sports arenas continue to suffer. Yes, but I also make the argument that movie theaters have been having their problems stem back all the way to the late 90s, early 2000s. Yes, COVID did not help the situation, but it did not cause all of the problems that they're going through right now. Back to the article. The problem is that because they are so easy to cancel, those services are seeing a lot of people leave after they finish watching the shows that convinced them to sign up in the first place. That phenomenon, known in the industry as churn, that's used in a lot of industries. In fact, it's often, you know, the phrase is often churn and burn. But fine, we'll humor them. You know, that phenomenon, known in the industry as churn, is a growing headache in the streaming wars, according to a new report released Monday night by professional services giant Deloitte. I'm gonna spell it out. I can't pronounce it. That is Deloitte. Yeah, I've never heard the name spoken, so I have no idea how to pronounce it. According to their survey of 1,100 people in October, this would have been October 2020 if you're watching this sometime in the future, 46% of respondents canceled at least one streaming service in the last 6 months. That's a dramatic increase from the 20% who said in a similar January survey, again, that's January 2020, that they'd cancel a service in the previous year. Of the people surveyed who canceled a streaming subscription, 62% did so because they finished the show or movie that they had signed up to see, they said. The data suggests it's becoming harder for media and entertainment companies to retain subscribers as competition increases, said Kevin Westcott. I'm going to get into that in just a quick second, but I'm going to finish up this paragraph. The Deloitte U.S. tech media and telecom leader in an interview, with so many services available, having exclusive content alone isn't enough to keep people on board. Exactly. If you are selling your streaming service solely on the fact that, hey guys, we have The Mandalorian. Okay, Disney Plus, what else do you have? We have WandaVision. Okay, the jury's still out on that show. What else do you have? Did we mention that we have The Mandalorian? or when Peacock was coming out, they were hoping and praying to God that all the people who watched The Office on Netflix were going to jump over because they want to continue watching The Office. Seriously, that's all Peacock is. All Peacock is basically, hey guys, we have The Office. Oh, we also did a reboot of Saved by the Bell that almost nobody likes, and we greenlit a second season for somehow. But hey, at least we have The Office. Back to the article. Streaming subscribers reported having an average of 5 services in October, up from the 3 they reported having before the COVID-19 pandemic. Again, you could largely attribute it to that, why they would increase the amount of streaming services that they get. The surge in streaming subscriptions may seem like good news for media and entertainment companies, but it also means people are dropping services faster as their budgets are strained. And that could play a part. Okay, I'm not going to argue that, yes, that can play a part in it, but let's get back here. The competition for the streaming services is shifting to a different level, Westcott said. Over the last few years, the focus was on having exclusive original content. In 2021, it's going to come down to the user experience and do you feel like a special VIP for being a member, end quote. Yes, they are going to have to knock it off with the exclusivity bullshit. Because I remember when, I think this was a few years ago now, when Netflix actually lost the streaming rights to Lost, and Hulu actually came in and bought the exclusive rights to stream the show. So if you wanted to watch Lost, you had to subscribe to Hulu in order to get that. Very similar to, hey, and I'm not talking about first party content either. Like shows like Stranger Things, Stranger Things, The Mandalorian, Cobra Kai, all that stuff. All that stuff is fine. That's all like first party content. I'm talking about, people like these streaming companies are buying up shows like Lost and Grey's Anatomy and I don't know, what's another popular show? Sons of Anarchy was pretty popular at one point. A lot of the FX shows were. A lot of these streaming services were buying up the exclusivity to the third-party shows. So if you wanted to watch Sons of Anarchy, I think as of like 2015, 2016, you had to subscribe to Hulu because it used to be on Netflix, but then they took it down. Same with the show, same with Rescue Me. I was really getting into that about a few years ago, but then once it got off Netflix, I just stopped watching it altogether because, why bother? So, back to the LA Times article. The top services have indeed kept their focus on growing their catalogs of movies and shows. Netflix, which reports quarterly earnings Tuesday afternoon, last week unveiled a 70-movie schedule for 2021 with a promotional video promising, quote, new movies every week, all year, end quote. The Los Gatos, California company has taken pains to keep a steady flow of fresh series coming to the service, including The Queen's Gambit and Bridgerton. I've heard of The Queen's Gambit. I've been meaning to watch that. Bridgerton, I have not heard of. Disney Plus is ramping up its programming schedule with the aim of introducing 100 new titles a year. On Friday, the Burbank company introduced WandaVision from Marvel Studios. Again, the jury is still out on that show. A clever offshoot series based on characters from its Avengers film franchise. Again, the jury's still out on it. You're going to have to wait for the show to end. AT&T's Warner Media sought to boost HBO Max by moving its 2021 film slate to the service for no extra charge on the same day they hit theaters, including Dune and In the Heights, for a limited streaming run, which I've already covered on TMRP in great length. You can go back on the channel and find it, where I basically detail Warner moving their entire 2021 film slate to HBO Max. Executives recognize the fickle nature of the audience. Oh no! Ann Sarnoff, chair of Warner Media Studios and Networks, said last week at the Consumer Electronics Show that the streaming business forces companies to consider measures of success other than box office and other easily understandable metrics such as ratings. In the streaming world, it is a completely different set of criteria, she said in her Wednesday keynote interview with MediaLink founder and chief executive Michael Kassan, referring to the factors including subscriber churn and overall engagement with the service, quote unquote. Westcott predicts companies will increasingly try to improve users' experience on their apps in 2021 by improving the use of data and recommendation technology. I don't know how that's going to work for them. Streamers have far greater access to their consumers' preferences than traditional TV channels. That much is true, which also should help them improve how they target advertising if that's part of their business. Which, yes, but I will get into my point in just a second. I just want to finish up the LA Times article. We've only got another 3 paragraphs to go. Indeed, free advertising-based services became increasingly popular during the pandemic as paid streamers stretched users' entertainment spending limits. According to Deloitte, sorry, again, I've never heard that name pronounced, so I'm going to fuck up their name. Well-known free services, including Fox Corp's Tubi. I do have Tubi. That is actually a pretty decent service. And Viacom CBS's Pluto TV and the Roku channel. Tubi is a pretty good service. Pluto is a pretty good service, too. Tubi TV, for those that don't know, that is more of like your on-demand that is more of an on-demand service. That is basically what Netflix and Hulu would be with ads, whereas Pluto TV is more like cable, where you have like specific channels that you can watch. Like there's a dedicated Star Trek channel that I watch all the time, and again, you just have to sit through ads. It's it's presented in like this like live TV format. It's actually it's not bad. It does have some stability issues. It did have some stability issues for a while, but I just attributed that to a surge in traffic. But it's pretty stable now. I think I logged into Pluto TV, I think last month, a month and a half ago, something like that. I don't remember. Deloitte reported 60% of respondents saying they used an ad-supported service in October, up from just 40% in January. Of those who dropped a streaming subscription, 23% say they did so because they could find the content they wanted to watch on a free ad-based video on demand app, up from 14% who said they did so in a May survey. Again, guys, all of these months, these January and May, this is all 2020. This is not 2021. We're in January of 2021 as this is being dropped. And we're going to end off the article here. The one thing consumers have told us over and over is, I won't pay more than I used to pay for linear television, Westcott said, referring to the cable and satellite TV bundles to which streaming services were supposed to be a cost-effective alternative. Yes, they were. People are finding that ad-supported platforms have good content, and they really do. Pluto TV, just to bring that up again, I've been watching a lot of the old like Addams Family episodes, the show from the 60s with Carolyn Jones and John Astin, not the movies. And for a long time, that show was available on Hulu, but now, if I want to watch the Addams Family, I have to go to Pluto TV. But the point I was going to bring up is this, before I tangent on for too long about my experience with streaming services, is that, people dropping streaming services. This article is claiming that, once they finish the movie or show that they sign up for, they just canceled the service. Well, I'm going to be intellectually honest here. I think that does play a role. But I don't think it is as significant as this article is claiming it to be. What I think you're seeing more and more of is that these services like Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, HBO Max, Peacock, they're just not worth the price of admission at this point. All you're doing, and like I said with Peacock is selling itself as, hey, we're the only streaming service with The Office. Hulu was, hey, we're the only streaming service to have Lost. Disney Plus, hey, we have The Mandalorian. We have, Star Wars shows and Marvel shows, but nothing beyond that. And that's all they're doing. They're becoming one-show networks. Whereas, I would argue a service like Netflix has future-proofed itself in this regard by having multiple shows. Now, there are more misses than hits for sure, but they've got shows like Stranger Things, The Crown, Queen's Gambit is pretty popular right now, even though that's a miniseries. Shit, where are the others? Oh, they just acquired Cobra Kai. That's a big one for them. Shit. What's that? Oh, the Ozark. They also have Ozark, but like I said, there's more hits than misses. Netflix is not just a one show platform. Same with Amazon Prime. Let's be honest with Amazon Prime, why I'm not even bothering to bring them up. Because Amazon can have Amazon Prime be a loss leader for them. It's included with your Prime subscription anyway, where you get the free 2-day shipping. So if Netflix never turns a profit on Prime Video, okay, whatever. And Netflix has some pretty decent shows too. I mean, they did the revival of Jack Ryan. They're also doing a revival of Jack Reacher. Not with Tom Cruise, unfortunately. I really liked the first movie. The second movie fucking sucked. They also were doing a Lord of the Rings series, but who knows if that's even gonna get made. But the one show I was really getting into was Bosch. I think that was with Titus Welliver. I think is who Bosch was with. I'm not gonna bother to look it up. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And well, their most popular show right now is The Boys, and everybody was just raving about The Boys. But if we're honestly looking at streaming services who honestly have their shit together, Netflix and Amazon are probably gonna be fine. It's these other ones that are gonna struggle. And speaking of Netflix, I have a second article that I found. This is over on the Motley Fool. This was actually written back on the 17th, so a day before the LA Times article, where they report that Netflix just lost nearly 1 billion hours worth of content. And that's billion with a B. So here in this article, I will link to this on the BitChute and Odyssey as well, so you can read this for yourself. Netflix lost Netflix, and then I think the Motley Fool is more of like your stock trader website, but okay, because you're going to see a lot of like NASDAQ and S&P 500. Netflix lost some valuable content rights on January 1st this year being 2021. Fans of The Office can no longer watch the series on the service. They'll have to subscribe to Comcast's Peacock in order to catch Michael Scott's antics. That's a big loss for Netflix. U.S. subscribers, get this. U.S. subscribers streamed 57.1 billion minutes of the sitcom last year, according to Nielsen. That's by far the most popular of any show on the streaming platforms. That's not my words, that's the Motley Fool. But son of a bitch. I watched The Office on Netflix, and I watched that show multiple times all the way through, but 57.1 billion minutes? Most networks would kill to have ratings that good. Getting back to the article, while it's a big loss for Netflix, it remains to be seen how much of The Office's popularity was due to Netflix and how much the series actually drew an audience to the streaming service. That is going to be the real test for Peacock at this point. Was The Office successful because it was on Netflix, or was it popular because it was a good show? It was a good show, don't get me wrong. I really enjoyed The Office up until season 9. Season 9 was crap. But most final seasons of long-running shows are garbage. Peacock's hoping it's the latter, basically they're hoping that the Office was good enough to basically get drawn to a streaming service. So getting back to it, Peacock's hoping it's the latter, but the rest of Nielsen's data suggests the show's recent resurgence has more to do with Netflix's strength. And continuing on in the article, they break this up into subsections. What will Netflix subscribers watch? While The Office was by far the most popular content on any of the streaming services tracked by Nielsen, the list was dominated by Netflix. See the top 10 shows by minute stream in the US last year, and it is on this Motley Fool article that I am linking in the description, so you can look at this for yourself, but I'm going to go through this. So obviously the top show was The Office on Netflix, streamed 57.1 billion minutes. The next show that's up, believe it or not, was Grey's Anatomy, which honestly doesn't surprise me, but that show honestly should have ended like 8 years ago. The amount of minutes streamed, this is billions. 39.4 billion minutes of Grey's Anatomy were streamed last year. Next up, we've got Criminal Minds at number 3. 35.4 billion minutes streamed. Now we get to our first Netflix original, was Ozark. Ozark on Netflix. I don't remember how many seasons of Ozark there are. There's like 3 or 4 now. But billions of minutes streamed is 30.4 billion minutes. Then we have NCIS at 28.1 billion minutes. Schitt's Creek at 23.7 billion minutes. Supernatural, thank God that show ended. 20.3 billion minutes on Netflix. Lucifer, which is a new... It actually started on the Fox network, and then Fox dropped it, but Netflix quickly picked up the rights to it. But Lucifer on Netflix, 18.9 billion minutes streamed. It's actually close enough. I'm going to round up to 19 billion minutes streamed. Then we have Shameless. That's the Showtime series on Netflix. 18.2 billion minutes streamed. And then finally, The Crown, the Netflix original series, The Crown, at 16.2 billion minutes streamed. So, you see, there are more popular shows on Netflix than just The Office. Yes, The Office was number 1. obviously, for the longest time. But like I said earlier, Netflix is not a one-show service. But, getting back to the article, Netflix completely dominates streaming time across genres and target audiences. It has also managed to get some of its originals in the top 10, despite having fewer episodes of them. Hold on, guys. Sorry, I lost my voice. I'm gonna start again. It has also managed to get some of the originals in the top 10, despite having fewer episodes of them than the long-running licensed series that make up most of that list. Yes, like I said, Ozark, I think, only has like 3 seasons, but they're like less than 10 episodes each. Lucifer, I think their season 4 only had like 13 episodes. The Crown only has 10. Versus a show like Grey's Anatomy or Criminal Minds that can go like 22 episodes a season. Even though Criminal Minds just ended. After, I think, 15 seasons, that show finally came to an end. But anyway, back to the article. The company is capable of pushing users to whatever content it believes will maximize the efficiency of its content spending in the long run. Remember Tiger King? Oh, God. Personally, I never watched it. I don't have an opinion on it, but I got so tired of hearing people talk about this fucking show. It has the best billboard in the business, the streaming platform's home screen. Quote, it turns out to be the best place to talk to subscribers about Netflix. It turns out that the best place to talk to subscribers about Netflix is on Netflix, co-CEO Ted Sarandos said on the company's second quarterly earnings call in July of 2020. In addition, with so much data on its subscribers' viewing habits, Netflix will be able to manage engagement even after losing The Office or any other licensed series. No one piece of content makes Netflix. I've even said that throughout this. Netflix is not a one-show platform. And here's the part right here. Will stronger competition hurt Netflix? While Netflix can certainly stomach losing its top content in a vacuum, the reality is The Office and other top content are going to its competitors. That is true. As mentioned, the most streamed series of 2020 is now on Peacock. Additionally, Disney pulled its films from Netflix over the last few years in preparation for Disney Plus. But I'm gonna get to this point after I finish the article. We only have a few more paragraphs to go. Disney is already showing off the strength of its library and its ability to attract subscribers and increase engagement. Disney Plus has 87 million global subscribers as of last month. So that would be, this was written in January of 2021. So this would be December 2020. Shows like The Mandalorian are a big reason why. In fact, The Mandalorian was the most streamed series in Nielsen's most recent weekly tabulation, besting The Office. Well, oh, wait. And this was for a week in mid-December, so the series was still on Netflix at the time. Okay, fine. But Disney's success with original series and films may be more of a product of its excellent marketing and messaging around Disney Plus. Millions of consumers were planning to sign up for Disney Plus well before the public even knew about Baby Yoda. That is true. The ability to get a series like The Mandalorian in front of an audience may have been more instrumental in making it popular than the content itself. Yes, and guys, I'm going to be 100% honest. I do have Disney Plus, but I have not logged into it since I finished season 2 of The Mandalorian. Other than The Simpsons and Disney Channel shows that I grew up watching, a lot of those Disney Channel shows, by the way, have not particularly aged well. There really is not much on Disney Plus for me. Continuing on with the article, guys, we only have 3 more paragraphs. That's where Comcast may face a challenge. The company said Peacock had already signed up 26 million accounts as of last month. But here's the question. How many of those are free accounts and how many are paid? Because if you remember, I think Comcast came out and said that if you're a customer at a certain tier, you are going to get Peacock for free. So they are not being intellectually honest about that number. How many of those accounts are free versus paid? I'll admit to you guys right now, I have HBO Max. I don't pay for it because I'm an AT&T customer. And I pay for AT&T fiber, so I get my HBO Max for free. I don't pay the $17 a month for it. So back to the article, that's a sizable audience to be sure, to a degree. But management remains quiet around how much engagement it's seeing. Investors should look for an update when Comcast reports its fourth quarter results later this month, that being January. So that might be in a week or two from when this uploads. Where Netflix's advantage lies is in its ability to spend its content budget more efficiently than competitors thanks to its large subscriber base and bounty of viewer data. Comcast paid $500 million for the streaming rights to The Office. Son of a bitch. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Steve Carell actually gets a cut of that too. You know, your Steve Carell, John Krasinski, who played Pam on the show? I remember Dwight was that was Rainn Wilson. Who played Pam? I can't remember her name, but I think at one point they were getting residuals from the show. But back to the article. Netflix can likely get the same level of engagement from far less spending because of its home screen billboard. Yes, that's true. And like I said, guys, the Motley Fool is more of like your stocks website, more of like your S&P 500, your NASDAQ. That gives Netflix more flexibility in its content budget and ensures it doesn't have to overspend, while other streaming media companies spend big in hopes of attracting an audience. That is very true. I think one season of The Mandalorian costed Disney $100 million to produce. Ultimately, that'll show up in Netflix's cash flow as it retains and adds subscribers without spending more than it has to on content. And that's the end to the article. And honestly, this is the last point I'm going to make with regards to streaming services. The problem why people are dropping these services left and right primarily is because now the market is far too fractured. You know, there was a time when Netflix, Amazon Prime Video, and Hulu had like 90 to 95% of the content that you wanted to watch. If Netflix dropped a show, like I remember when Netflix lost Family Guy, Cleveland Show, and American Dad, Hulu picked it up like the very next day. Same with the show like 30 Rock. So as long as you had Netflix, Amazon Prime, and Hulu, you were watching 95% of the content that you wanted to watch anytime was there. But now you're seeing more and more companies like your Comcasts, AT&T's now in it with HBO Max, and I just brought them up, and Disney Plus. I don't know if I brought them up originally. I'm having one of those days. But what they're doing is that they're hoping that the strength of their not only their back catalog, but the exclusive content is going to be enough to drive people to the service. You know, like for the longest time, HBO was just the Game of Thrones channel for the longest time. Now in terms of like the streaming content, I think HBO is going to be fine. Your services like HBO, Showtime, and Cinemax, because those have always been premium channels even on cable. And you're not paying much more for them if you're streaming it versus if you're adding it to your cable package, because that's always been their business model. They've always been a premium channel. But I can't see services like Disney Plus lasting really much longer, because they're going to need to produce a lot more than just The Mandalorian to keep people there. Peacock, I'm not sure if they're going to last in its current state. Discovery Plus, I think, is going to be dead in the fucking water. I'm sorry. You know, I'm gonna call it for what it is. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm actually hoping to be wrong, because I hate to be a narcissist, but I don't think that Discovery Plus has a chance. What else did they bring up in this one? No, I think I actually brought them all up. So what I could actually see going forward in the streaming market, other than Netflix, Amazon Prime Video, and Hulu, what I can see happening because of the success of Tubi TV and Pluto TV, I think you're going to see Disney Plus, HBO Max, Peacock, Apple TV. That's the other one I forgot. Apple TV Plus, again, getting back to Apple TV Plus, you know, Apple is kind of in the same boat as Amazon is, where they can have Apple TV Plus be a loss leader for them, and they'll be fine. But still, getting back to the point, Disney Plus, HBO Max, Peacock, Apple TV Plus, Discovery Plus, I think that those services are gonna switch to being more of an ad-based service than a paid-for service. Now hear me out on it, because I know that Peacock does have a free tier, but the free tier is a goddamn joke. You know, you don't get access to all of the content that's on Peacock as a result. But what I can see happening is that you'll get access to all of the content, you know, for free. The only thing you have to do is you have to sit through ads. But if you want the no ads version, that's where the upcharge is going to come in at, like, you know, $9.99 a month. You know, if you don't want to sit through ads, it's, you know, $10 a month now. I think you're going to see more and more streaming services adopt that model. In fact, I completely forgot about this service. Anyone remember YouTube Premium? I know YouTube Premium is still around, but if you remember, this was back in mid-2019 when they announced that all of their YouTube Premium content was going to be free for anyone to watch. But if you didn't have a YouTube Premium subscription, you would just have to sit through the advertising. You know, if you had a YouTube Premium subscription, you didn't have to worry about the ads. And, you know, they were on the right track to, you know, in that regard. YouTube Red, YouTube Premium was on the right track, but still, it's YouTube fucking Premium. I'm not going to YouTube to watch a show like Cobra Kai or a show like The Mandalorian. I'm basically going to YouTube to watch jackasses on the internet give their half-assed opinion, like, hey, what I'm doing right here. Let's all be intellectually honest. This is why you go to sites like YouTube. You go to Netflix to watch something like The Mandalorian, Cobra Kai, you know, whatever. You know, you don't go to YouTube for that. And, you know, this fracturing of the market, eventually it is going to fold in on itself. You're going to see a lot of these companies are going to realize that it was far more lucrative to license their shows out to Netflix, Amazon, and Hulu than it was to start their own competing service. Son of a bitch, guys. I've been going for quite a while. Let's see how long I've been going right here. I'm not even going to bother to sell because I'm too lazy. Over half an hour, and I think I've made all the points that I'm going to make on this in regards to streaming services. I don't think any more can really be said than what's already been said here. So I'm going to end it right here, guys. Like I said in the beginning, if you haven't done already, subscribe to the channel on whatever platform you're watching this on, and links to all my social medias and the other video hosting sites that I'm on are down in the description below. And this is going to do it for this episode of TMRP, the Metropolis Radio Podcast. And I will see you guys next time.